So welcome everybody to another EnviroRental webinar. It's fantastic to be back with you, and we have a special guest today, Petter from Guesty. We'll introduce her in a moment. Just a couple of housekeeping things. Please keep yourself on mute. There will be time for questions at the end, but if you've got questions that you would like to post, then please put them in the chat. My good friend and colleague Amit, who does all the work at EnviroRental, is here. He organizes everything and he'll be monitoring the chat. He'll be posting links and making sure everything goes smoothly. So thank you, Amit, and just use the chat and we will make sure your points are picked up on. This is being recorded because we do find a lot of people to actually register but then watch it afterwards in their own time, which is perfectly understandable. And we will be posting it to our YouTube channel. And I know our colleagues at Guesty will also be making sure this is available to their community as well. So there'll be lots of opportunities to go over the content again. So great. I'd like to introduce Petter from Guesty. Hello, Petter. How are you?
Hey, Bob. I'm awesome. Thank you so much for having us here today. Of course, just a little bit about me. I'm a senior technical program manager at Guesty. I've been with the company for almost 6 years now. And I'm super excited to be here to talk with EnviroRental and with you, because I think that in today's sort of world, sustainability can be a buzzword, and I think we're trying to change what that actually, that buzzword into reality. So super excited to be here today to talk a little bit about the strategy that can drive both guest satisfaction and business performance in today's world.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. We will be looking forward to your conversation shortly. And also, after I've given a little short deck and Petter has, I'm also going to be asking Petter some questions that I think will bring out this topic and bring it to life. And it might prompt you, the viewer, to have some other thoughts. So please do pop them in the chat. So we're going to get Guesty's perspective today. I'm going to be talking about some insights that I think are useful in terms of what's happening in the short-term rental industry around sustainability and the business benefits of sustainability. So I'm going to be trotting through that. I will have to be very quick, and Amit will keep me on time because I can talk and talk and talk forever. So do keep me on time there. And then, as I say, we're going to be getting to those questions. So the whole point of today is to really think about sustainability and how you can build it into your business and the advantages using tech to help you achieve your carbon footprint goals. And we're going to be dropping into the detail of that. So I'm super excited because we haven't done a webinar quite like this before. So it's fantastic that we've got this opportunity. And thank you, Petter, in advance for your amazing contributions. So, okay, so I'm going to start. I'm going to share my screen and take you through my deck. Can you see my screen? Yes. Okay. Seem to have missed the first slide, but that's okay. Let me just fix that. Okay, so my name's Bob Garner, and I'm the founder and CEO of EnviroRental. Who am I and what's my experience? So I'm actually a property owner and host. I live in Italy. I manage a number of properties in Le Marche, and I've been here for 20 years, and I absolutely love it. Want to give you a flavor of my property. We bought an old farmhouse 20 years ago. You can see it on the left. And we renovated it and converted it into 7 luxury apartments. We live on site and we manage and look after our guests. And from the beginning, I wanted to build sustainability into our business. 20 years ago, I knew nothing, but I've made our business really successful around sustainability, and you can too. So we've built sustainability into the brand of Casaldifici, the name of our business here in Italy. And really, it's what we're most famous for, and that's what brings guests to us. We have a 90% book direct rate. We have a 60% repeat and referral rate. And those things are important because that is the holy grail of guests. Because if you can avoid using channels and using agents and paying commissions, of course, that's fantastic. Everybody wants to do that. But if you can do it as well as using OTAs, fantastic. And we've managed to do that quite well. I'm the founder of EnviroRental, and I set up EnviroRental 2 years ago because I wanted to share my knowledge and my experience and get it out there to the industry for free to help you. I wanted to just pull up these 4 points, and these actually come from a Guesty survey, and this came out as some of the key pain points for you in your business. That there is market saturation and competition there, and many of you, like myself, can find that really tough and need to deal with that topic. We're also conscious of the cost of doing business as well. The costs are rising, and that is squeezing our margins and making it more difficult to put food on the table and be successful. And market differentiation also came up in the Guesty survey. How can you be different? How can you step aside from your competitors and give yourself a brand that's unique, that's distinct, and that brings guests to you? And then also the final concern that you had in this survey, and I share it, is booking channels, direct bookings, and how to get those bookings in at the lowest possible cost, and hopefully get repeat bookings and referral bookings, as I touched on before. So these from the survey that Guesty did, and it was a brilliant survey, thank you very much, were some of the key points that you were concerned about. So a little bit about EnviroRental. EnviroRental is a one-stop shop for sustainability in short-term rentals. We only talk about short-term rentals. It's the only area that we're connected to. Our audience are property managers and hosts. So everything we do, all the content we create, all the messages we give, everything is about hosts and property managers. Now, that is not to say that a lot of the content can't be used for other purposes, in hotels, for instance, or in your private home. But what we're aiming to do is give you information and guidance as property managers and hosts. That is allowed because all the information we give away is free due to the amazing support of our sponsors. And Guesty is one of our sponsors. Thank you, Guesty. They allow us to create content and get that out to you so that you can learn and take action. And all the resources are free. We don't charge anything. You can go to our website, register, and use all the resources for free. We do not want any barriers to entry. We don't want you to be concerned about the costs of learning around sustainability. So everything is completely free. And our role as we signpost sustainability for short-term rentals is our strapline. We want to help you to start or progress on your sustainability journey. So I just want to flag up here, I'm really conscious I've only got 15 minutes of some of the resources on our website. I would encourage you to just go and explore them. You will find everything you could possibly want to know around sustainability and short-term rentals, and it's all free. We have a roadmap which takes you through the steps that you need to take, and you can start that roadmap at any point that you want. We've got blogs and case studies, we've got survey data, webinars as we're doing today, measurement tools, industry news, everything you could want. And we also have a marketplace, which is something new and actually something that Amit manages. Thank you, Amit. And this came from the fact that when we were writing a lot of case studies and blogs, people were coming to us and asking us for a recommendation of a particular product or service or piece of tech. So we've started to collect those and put those in the marketplace. So if you're looking for something like that, maybe start with the marketplace, and you can be sure that those companies listed there are good companies and have got a sustainability aspect to them. So that's always a great point that we encourage people to take and use. I want to quickly, I put up this survey data from Booking.com and Expedia. I put it up all the time because I think it's really important. That the main message to get across here is that consumers are looking for sustainable stays. You can see the numbers there. I'm not going to go through them because I'm time conscious, but people do want to stay sustainably. They're often willing to pay more for those sustainable options. Many have already taken some sustainability action by staying in an accommodation that is eco-friendly, but also many of them struggle to find the right places to stay. And what we're going to be talking about in a moment is the business benefits. And I think this is where you can come in and differentiate yourself from some of your competitors, if you can take action when some of your competitors are not. So I'm going to put up all these business benefits, and you can see them there. And I think it's useful because you can then start to see why you should do this. Other than it's a great thing for the guest and it's a great thing for the planet, it also needs to be a great thing for you. And that is around differentiating yourself from your competitors, being more prominent, for example, and that might be around how you use the booking sites, whether they have certain badges that you can gather and promote yourself through those badges on, say, Booking.com. We know that consumer demand, as I put up on the last slide, is increasing around sustainability. So think about how you can meet that demand. Also, you can improve your profitability. A lot of people think that initiating sustainability is going to cost them a lot of money, but actually it's a way of improving your profitability and bringing your costs down. And so do not be afraid of taking action. It can be an amazing thing for your bottom line. Publicity is in there. I've done a lot of publicity around our properties in Italy, and it's great when you get some free press, and then you always get lots of business if you can get some press in the online or in the printed newspapers. I've always found it a great way to promote what you're doing and bring people to see your business and get involved. Future proofing, this is around the regulations. There's a lot of regulations. There's not time to go into it now, but they are going to start to impact on short-term rentals. So getting ahead of the game and taking action mean that you're not going to be caught out when those regulations bite. Staff attraction and retention, absolutely. A lot of the younger people are really looking to work for companies who are doing the right thing around sustainability and love to work for companies who are doing good things for the community, for the environment. So don't dismiss this topic. A lot of young people are really attracted for working for a good company doing the right things. And finally, the last three, more bookings, and that's, I was talking about that before with direct bookings and repeat bookings. That's what we're all interested in, and sustainability is a way of getting them. The guest experience, this is where you integrate sustainability into the guest experience, and there's so much I could say here. I could do a whole webinar on it, but you want people to feel that they're getting the wonderful guest experience, and that's based on sustainability. I'd encourage you to look at our blogs around that topic on our website and think about your digital guide and putting that into your digital guide about what you're doing. And all of these things help build your brand and help people see that you're a company, you're a business that cares about the guest, cares about the planet, and is trying to do the right thing. Before I finish, I wanted to just put up this. I know I don't really have a great deal of time, but I think I wanted to give you that overview of what I think are some of the big factors influencing our industry at the moment around sustainability. And I've put them into two buckets, the internal and the external. Most of them obvious, so I'm not going to linger on them, but I'll quickly trot through them. Internally, Booking.com have just enhanced their sustainability filter to only include approved certifications. That is really big. It makes a huge difference. And if you're using Booking.com and you take sustainability action, get a badge through an approved accreditation, that is going to raise your profile on that website. We've also launched a dedicated sustainability conferences last year, which were Scale Green and Vacation Rental World Summit Green. We organised those. They were the world's first, and we're hoping to do the same in 2025. Watch this space. Obviously, EnviroRental, offering all our free resources, is a big influence on the industry. But also some of the leading businesses are starting to develop their ESG and sustainability strategies. And there's some fantastic businesses in our sector who are doing brilliant things, and would encourage you to look out for them. You'll find them on our website and start to copy some of the things they're doing. There are now certifications which are important for short-term rentals. So if you take action, one of the things to do is to get a certification, a stamp of approval from an independent body that's independently audited, that prove that you're taking action, and you can then publicize that to your community, to your guests. It's really valuable. And also now there are awards taking place in the industry. We're very fortunate at EnviroRental to have won the Short Sea Award twice. I'm very proud of that. But I would encourage you, and there are others, but I would encourage you to think about, when you take action, start to think about applying for these awards, because it really does help when you can apply for an award and start to think about what you've done and put it out in writing and publicize it to others. It's a real boost. On the external, we know that there is over-tourism in some parts of the world, and policies are now being put in place in certain regions around that. You might think that's a negative, but it's also a positive in the sense that it's encouraging those communities to be good neighbours and do the right thing around sustainability in those communities. And that is a way of building the reputation of short-term rentals in those communities. And it's a topic that doesn't get enough discussion. Trotting through the final four, Travelist is a not-for-profit organisation who are trying to create common standards across accommodation and in fact across all of tourism. And these standards you will start to see being rolled out through the big platforms over the next year or two. And the idea is to make it really the same system for everybody, and that when the guest comes to look at websites, they see the same thing and they can rely on it. Because at the moment there's a huge mishmash and it's very confusing, not only for our industry but also for travelers. Media and key individuals, key leaders are also putting sustainability in their top 3 industry imperatives. And that's great. Obviously, people are starting to understand that it's one of the biggest topics and that we should be doing more about it. 2 more, the rise of B Corps. B Corp is also a form of accreditation. It's much broader, much deeper, too much to talk about here. But I would encourage you, if you ever come across a B Corp, then listen to them and take note, because they've done a lot of work around sustainability, around governance, around managing their teams, around their suppliers, and much, much more. And it's a really amazing accreditation scheme. And then finally, on the external, there's the eco legislation and regulations that are coming through and are going to start to impact on our industry. So we'll be talking about that and highlighting it on our website as we go along. Just to keep that in your mind. So finally, I just wanted to remind you of those 4 problems: market saturation and competition. This means that you need to be building sustainability into your brand. You need to be distinctive. You need to do, if I might say, what I've done with Casal di Fichi. Nobody in my area is doing it. I stand out from that competition, and that is an amazing thing because it brings you business. Cost of doing business. Yes, absolutely. You need to be getting your costs down. So think of some quick wins. We may be talking on this webinar today. We've certainly written many blogs about it. things that you can do immediately that will cost you nothing, will have an impact, and start to make you a sustainable business and allow you to start to communicate that to your audience. Market differentiation. Yes, of course, you need to differentiate. And one of the ways to do that, and this is a huge topic, I'd love to spend all the time talking about that, and that is about how you communicate. You've heard of greenwashing, possibly, where people are exaggerating what they're doing, but there's also green hushing. And green hushing is when people do stuff around sustainability and don't talk about it. So when you take action, put it on your website, write about it in your digital guide, put it in the email to your guests, write a blog about it, make yourself aware and make everybody around you aware of what you are doing. Because if people don't know that you're doing stuff around sustainability, how are they going to find you and think that you're the person that they want to book with? And finally, booking channels and direct bookings. Yes, think about the accreditation badge. Again, we can talk about this afterwards. There are some great badges in our industry, two of which are Sustonica and Calia. There are others. You need to go through a certain one that's accredited by third party because there are many, many out there, and we can certainly help you at EnviroRental. But it's a great way of branding yourself and being public about what you're doing. So that's it from me. There is the QR code, but you'll find us at EnviroRental.earth. I've probably gone over time. I could have spoken much more about these topics, but I'm going to stop now and let somebody else talk. So let me get out of here. Sorry, just stopping that share. There we go. I'm out. Thank you. Okay, that's enough from me. I actually want to hear much, much more from Petter and hear about Guesty and how Guesty can help you. So over to you, Petter.
Phew, that was a lot. So thank you. Thank you. Let me, I'm going to share my deck with you guys also. And what you'll see is actually, I'm going to reiterate some of what Bob also shared, but that only just strengthens sort of our stand in the industry to say, like, now is the time, and there are things that we can do to actually make those changes. So let me see. I will be, you guys can see my screen, correct? Okay, cool. Okay, so today we're actually going to be diving into the our 2024 STR industry report, which basically looks at all the trends and strategies and future outlook for the short-term rental industry, and of course the larger some larger industry trends. To put this report together, we actually surveyed 700 plus STR operators from around the world, gathering insights from property managers handling everything from a handful of listings to large-scale portfolios. Before we dive in, though, I did want to just take a quick minute to introduce Guesty to those of you who are not yet familiar with what we do. At Guesty, we are providing short-term rental hosts and property management companies the most comprehensive and streamlined set of tools they need to operate seamlessly, bring in more bookings, create those optimal guest experiences, and ultimately grow the business. So the way we look at it is whether you're a full-time professional property management company looking to scale, Guesty is going to offer a solution that is ready for your business when it's needed today and in the future. So, you know, we were founded in 2013, so we've been on the scene for over a decade now. We have 16 locations worldwide, customers in over 90 countries, and have raised almost $500 million. But why should you care about these numbers? Sure, they are impressive, but why does nearly $500 million in funding really matter to you? Why? Because the team this is funding our global locations means that we are investing in you. We're better distribution, we're building products that are usable and meaningful to your business, which results ultimately in higher ADRs and operational efficiencies where it matters. So going back to the report, in 2024, when we set out to complete our industry report, we polled over 700 property managers on what motivates them, what worries them, where do they see opportunity, and where are they seeing the most growth. So the STR market, what we saw was really the STR market has matured quite significantly. And with that growth comes increased competition and complexities. So 58% of operators cited market saturation as their biggest challenge. There are simply more listings than ever, making it harder to stand out, right? So then 37% say direct bookings remain a struggle, as many operators still rely heavily on these third-party platforms like Airbnb and Booking.com. And then, of course, 55% are concerned about the rising cost of doing business, from the level of quality of their tech to the investments to operational expenses. These challenges make it clear. Success today really requires that it requires more than just listing your property. It requires a more strategic approach to pricing, distribution, guest experience. That's where we think technology and these data-driven decisions come into play, which will directly apply to where you're putting your efforts and even how to focus on sustainability. So this quote from the latest industry report really sets the tone. Guest expectations are shifting. Sustainability is no longer a differentiator. It's becoming a baseline. So we feel that if you want to future-proof your operations, this is a great place to start. Of course, as the critical shift in the industry is growing, demand for sustainable travel options is expanding. In our industry report, we ask hosts what drives their decisions and what matters in the industry. When we expanded that to include Booking.com's 2024 Sustainable Travel Report, not only do eco-friendly practices potentially lead to cost savings through reduced resource consumption, they also align with preferences of many travelers. So when we see 75% of travelers who want to book more sustainable accommodations, but many find it difficult to identify them. 50% of travelers say they actively seek out properties marketed as eco-friendly. This is a huge opportunity for STR operators. Those who adopt sustainable practices, such as single-use plastics, right? Offering carbon offset options or implementing green certifications are more likely to attract that modern traveler and increase bookings. Moreover, properties are adapting to evolving sustainability trends by implementing recycling programs, improving energy efficiencies, and avoiding these single-use plastics. A lot of these eco-friendly initiatives, combined with some seamless digital processes, not only address the growing environmental concerns, but also contribute to a superior guest experience. Sustainability isn't just about ethics. It becomes a key driver of guest decisions. Travelers today are actively seeking accommodations that align with their values, and properties that demonstrate real commitment to sustainability are seeing higher engagement, better reviews, and stronger loyalty. But sustainability efforts need to be more than a marketing checkbox, right? As operators who integrate sustainable design into their core operations through either energy efficient appliances, waste reduction strategies, or local sourcing, we will create long-term business value while meeting this rising consumer expectation. A key strategy? Well, aligning sustainability with the guest experience. If guests are willing to pay a bit more for eco-friendly stays when they see the tangible benefits, such as smart energy-saving solutions, locally inspired eco-luxury touches, or rewards for choosing greener options, we believe that the most forward-thinking operators aren't just responding to trends, they're future-proofing their business by making sustainability a competitive advantage. Okay, so the first set of data here highlights a common disconnect, though. So travelers want to act sustainably. Over 90% say they're open to it, but just over half are actually doing it. What's encouraging, though, is that travelers are asking for help. They want better labeling, more tips, and more visible indicators of what qualifies as sustainable. As an industry, that's a green light to improve the transparency and communicate. It's not just about demand, it's about making it easier to follow through. And as Bob mentioned, green hushing, right? We've got to flip that script and make it more about if you are practicing sustainable practices, brag about them, put them on your website. When we do dig into some of these cost sensitivities, though, the drop-off is sharp. While many travelers care about sustainability, very few are willing to pay significantly more for it. Only 1.7% are actually okay with a 20% premium. This tells us that if sustainable options come at a higher cost, we can't assume customers will just absorb it. As an industry, we need to build value around these options, whether that's through cost-neutral perks, operational savings passed along to guests, or education about the long-term impact. Oh, and then there's Gen Z, who are passionate about sustainability. They care about the planet and are looking for responsible options. But many don't feel confident about what makes a trip sustainable, and nearly a third don't see the added benefits. This is our cue, right? As an industry, it's not enough to offer eco options. We need to clarify, educate, and show the value. If we do, Gen Z will lead the way in sustainable travel options. So, in addition to consumer preferences, hosts and the industry also have the challenge of addressing different property types and different needs, sometimes even within the same portfolio. So, what works for an off-grid eco lodge in Tulum is not going to work for an urban apartment in London or Miami. Sustainability challenges aren't just about going green, they're about understanding the operational model. So different property types equal different environmental challenges, tools, and guest expectations. So with that, on the one hand, you'll see some properties run fully automated, others are hyper manual, some are on the grid, others aren't. Guesty sees this variety every day across our customers in 90 plus countries. And that's why we emphasize customizable, scalable solutions, because sustainability in STRs must be as flexible as the properties themselves. Beyond that, property owners should also factor in ongoing maintenance when considering their sustainability footprint. Elements such as the age of the home, use of lower cost materials, example, poor insulation, basic windows, and overall build quality can significantly affect the long-term efficiency. Even smaller details like installing shower filters, low flow fixtures, or even choosing eco-friendly cleaning products can play a role in setting guests up to make more conscious choices during their stay. And furthermore, partnering with vendors and service providers who share commitment to sustainability or are actively working toward a more eco-conscious practices can help amplify the overall impact and create a more aligned, responsible rental ecosystem. Speaking of partners, tech and sustainability, they do go hand in hand. So automating tasks, optimizing energy use, reducing physical travel for staff, all of this can reduce your footprint and improves efficiency. A good PMS is going to help you do more with less. Let's start with something like smart thermostats and energy efficient lighting. These small upgrades can drive big results. Tools like Point Central, SoSuite, or Power Setter allow property managers to automate temperature and lighting based on occupancy, time of the day, or even local weather. This means you're not heating or cooling or lighting empty spaces, and you're cutting down on waste and lowering utility bills across the board. It's all about smarter energy use without sacrificing the guest comfort. Then we've got automated check-in, check-outs. This isn't just about making life easier for your guests. It also helps reduce labor costs and energy consumption. So let's take Guesty's smart lock management system. Guests can check in via smart locks or mobile access codes, which means fewer on-site staff needs and more streamlined turnovers. It also allows you to better coordinate cleaning schedules and minimize the downtime between your bookings. Finally, a centralized PMS. When everything, reservations, communications, maintenance, accounting, is managed through one system, operations become leaner and more efficient. It reduces tool overload, repetitive tasks, and human error. Pairing a centralized PMS with automation platforms such as the ones I mentioned above, a PM can create a powerful tech stack that supports scalability, sustainability, and of course, profitability at the end of the day. But let's look at real-world demand. We're seeing growing interest in ecotourism destinations, and listings that communicate sustainability are outperforming their peers. Based on Guest's data, reservations are up by almost 29% when looking at the top 3 eco hotspots. These examples highlight the dynamic nature of ecotourism across the regions. Let's take first Costa Rica. Their proactive policies have successfully boosted tourism while enhancing forest conservation. Bali's popularity underscores the need for a balanced development to preserve its natural beauty, while in Tulum, their targeted initiatives demonstrate how local actions can contribute to sustainable tourism goals. Understanding these trends allows us to better cater to the growing segment of eco-conscious travelers, ensuring that our strategies are going to align with both market demand and environmental stewardship. This isn't just a niche, it is a movement, and the STRs are right in the middle of it. So what we're seeing here really is real-time validation. Across Costa Rica, Bali, and Tulum, 3 of the most in-demand ecotourism regions, reservations made through Guesty-powered properties surged this March compared to last year. Again, we don't think this isn't just a trend driven by hype. It's a shift in traveler behavior. More guests are choosing locations that align with sustainability values, and Guesty operators in those regions are really seeing the results in their calendars. For property managers, this is a clear call to action. If you're not in a location known for ecotourism, there's still lots we can do. We know the demand is there, and now is really the time. I know we've covered a lot of ground today, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. The goal of this call was to at least start a conversation with our property managers. If you want to deep dive into the findings and explore even more insights, please go ahead and scan the QR code on the screen to download the full 2024 STR industry report. It's full of data-driven strategies to help guide your decisions as you move forward. And of course, as I said already, there's lots that has been discussed on the state of sustainability and what the industry is at. But technology can really be an enabler for real change and impact. At Guesty, we've really built features, or we believe that we built features that will naturally support sustainability, from automations and task efficiencies to integrations with smart home tech. We help you run lean, smart, and green without adding any extra workload. And with that, that's all I've got for you today, but looking forward to our Q&A. So for now, passing it over to Bob, the man behind EnviroRental.
Thank you, Petter. That was amazing. I learned a lot from that deck, so really impressive. And I really would recommend people do look at that survey. It's packed with really useful information that you can take and use and learn and build into your business. So yeah, really highly recommend it. Thank you for doing that. So Petter isn't off the hook yet, because now I'm going to ask a few questions because we want to flesh out some of those topics in a little bit more detail. But just to repeat once again, if you do have questions, there will be chance at the end, or please just punch them into the chat because it's important that your concerns and questions also get addressed. Okay, Petter, your first question. So what do you think are the biggest challenges property managers face in implementing sustainability, and how does the Guesty technology help solve them?
So the way we see it right now is that like many STR operators are dealing with disconnected tools, right? That help the tools that create inefficiencies, they create redundancies and added overhead, making it kind of hard to track or act on sustainable goals. And then also the second issue is the smaller teams often don't have the time or headcount really to prioritize some of these green practices, even if they wanted to. So the way we solve it really is at Guesty, we consolidate multiple functions like the booking, guest messaging, operations, into one platform, which ultimately is going to reduce friction and improve visibility. And two, Guesty's integration with partners that offer solutions for smart home technology, such as, and I mentioned a few earlier, but others are like Aura Air, Minute, SoSuite, Point Central. It gives managers access to energy data and automations, making it much easier to implement these sustainable practices without adding complexities for them.
Yeah, and I want to reinforce that point because you make it a very good point. You know, I often get asked from people, it's like there is so much tech out there are so many options, and people get confused and they're really looking for an integrated approach, looking for one provider who can do a lot for them. So it's great that Guesty offer that. And the other thing that often crops up is, you know, we're starting to see in our sector some of the bigger companies actually have their own sustainability manager, who's there to drive sustainability forward in an organization. But it's really only the bigger companies that can do that. And as you quite rightly mentioned, in the smaller teams, they don't have the resources to do that. So they need to be partnering with great companies like Guesty who can help them to be more sustainable. So I wanted to reinforce that point because I think it's really important.
Yeah, we
Um,
often say that with the smaller teams, it's, you know, if you use all the functions or the core functionality within Guesty, it's going to help, it's going to help you reduce those redundancies, but also give you back time so that you can really focus on what matters to the business. So, I mean, that's a driving factor with us, you know, use everything that we offer. There's so many tools and so many functions within the system that are really will help these smaller teams be more efficient and operate lean. So yeah, exactly. That's the whole goal.
yeah.
Oh,
We're losing you, Bob.
Okay.
we're losing.
Second question. What are the key? Oh, are you losing me? My internet's being difficult. Can you hear me?
It's Italy. It's going on siesta, maybe.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, my internet getting a bit flaky there. If it drops out, no doubt Amit will carry on the questions. But yeah, I was starting on the second question, which was, what are the key features within Guesty that help reduce waste and improve energy efficiency?
Mm-hmm. So of course there's the automations, right? And the most simple automation is things like check-in and check-out. So this removes the need for those in-person staffings. It's lowering your travel-related emissions and enabling like smarter use of the property systems. Example, like no need to leave the lights or the HVAC on unnecessarily. And then of course there's the task management from an operational perspective. Guesty's scheduling logic helps avoid overlapping your cleans and maintenance visits, which ultimately is going to reduce vehicle trips and optimize your staff labor. Then we've got things like, you know, in the marketplace, we have a lot of smart home integrations through our marketplace. We offer tools that automate lights, temperature, locks based on occupancy to cut those energy costs. We also integrate with EV charging solutions, electric vehicle charging solutions that let property managers monetize charging and switch to greener, even tools that help them switch to greener, cheaper electricity providers. All of this, you know, helps. And also more sustainable focused suppliers are joining the market every day. So this is really a growing industry and an opportunity for a lot of providers to step in and take the lead. And then lastly is probably, not last, there's a lot of different things, but one that worth noting would be guest behavior insights, right? You can view your property usage trends and you know, for example, time between bookings or the average length of stay, and then use that data to better time your cleanings or control when systems are powered on and off, or even simply things like, you know, not even if the average length of stay is two, consider only making your minimum nights 2 nights, because again, turnovers cost money. Turnovers mean more cleanings, more operations that have to happen when you have more turnovers. So there's little things in the system within our advanced analytics tool, especially, that give you a lot of these insights, and then you can make better informed decisions about your journey, about the guest.
Yep, and I love the aspects around the tech, because I think they're really valuable and they really do make a difference. And also what you talked about with EV chargers. You know, I just know from personal experience, we put an EV charger in our property maybe 9 years ago, and
Wow.
we get extra guests come and stay with us because we have an EV charger on site, and they want that convenience. And as you quite rightly say, with the new technology, you can set the tariffs, and actually it's a way of developing a new income stream, because you decide what the guest pays. So absolutely, there's so much to be done through technology. I really want to reinforce that point.
Yep, exactly. I mean, as I said, we're seeing more and more, and I do believe that we in the future will see a lot more providers coming in and competition. We've only got a few, for example, on the EV charging, but in the US, it's something a little more. It's newer, you know, it's growing popularity amongst hosts, and even, I mean, it came from a demand from our hosts, right? We're looking for a partner in EV charging because our guests are asking for it. So ultimately, you know, we do have to, the demand is going to come from the guests. So as long as the guests can start demanding the, you know, these tools or these partnerships, or asking, I think that is also going to drive our PMs to be more sustainable ultimately.
Thank you. And I would give a shout out to our marketplace, where you can find on our website a lot of companies in tech and outside tech that we recommend, that are doing great things. And a lot of those names have already cropped up in this webinar today. Okay, my third question, what future tech trends will drive sustainability? So we've talked about what what's already working. What's coming up in the future that's going to drive sustainability in our industry?
So the way we are looking at it right now, obviously, you know, AI-driven energy optimizations. Basically, that means things like smart settings that that learn from guest behavior, that will help, for example, reduce HVAC usage, especially during gaps between stays. So, and that is AI-driven energy, or AI-driven technology is also quite a buzzword today. And so curious, we'll see where that all, but there's still a lot, I believe there is a lot of use for the AI to help us help offset some of these optimizations so that we operate better. Then, of course, there's, you know, guest experience personalization. Tech that tailors this to individual preferences will reduce the need for like these more generic or one-size-fits-all service models that really just waste time and resources. And then we also think that things like industry-wide benchmarking tools, and this is a huge opportunity within our own industry for platforms to start sharing data more transparently, right? You know, operators will be able to compare performance and adopt best practices around sustainability. So again, looking at like if we could become more holistic as an industry. And then, of course, there's the hardware or the IoT, Internet of Things advancements. You know, we expect to see an increase in some of these more plug-and-play smart device design specifically for STRs, you know, making easy installations, making it more cost-effective, and then, of course, you know, centrally managed, hopefully from Guesty. But yeah, so all in all, the AI, guest experience personalization, we're hoping to see some industry-wide benchmarking tools come out, and then obviously some innovations within the hardware and IoT advancements.
Fabulous. Thank you. Yeah, I certainly would echo the sentiments around collaboration and the industry working together on some of these topics, because I think sometimes we often work in silos, and of course there are competitors, but I'm sure there are great opportunities to come together, share data, share experiences, and help everybody along the way. So love to see that. Okay.
Same. I mean, we were talking earlier, right? There are no industry standards yet, right? Well, we're writing them as we go now. It's a blank book almost, I think. And so even aligning on goals would be a great start for the industry at large. And globally, it's so fractioned. I mean, we have a question from Russ, particularly on the US. EMEA has a very different take on it. APAC has a very different take on it. So I do think that would be a one place for us to sort of start focusing a little bit more on, in terms of getting aligned, getting the message out, like understanding what does it mean to be sustainable, like how can I measure it, and what is the impact on my bottom line, what is the impact on the environment, what is the impact on humans in general. Like this is a global human issue at the end of the day.
Yeah, totally. I think we could have a whole webinar on that single.
Totally, I agree.
Really, it would be amazing. I am conscious of time. I'd just like to ask one more question, if I may, and then I'm going to open up for other people. So for somebody out there starting from scratch, what's the first step that you would recommend in integrating sustainability?
So for property manager, obviously centralize your tech stack. Using an all-in-one platform like Guesty to gain visibility across all your operations is the first step, right? It's going to help you streamline your operations. It's going to give you visibility into that data we were talking about. And it's also going to give you an opportunity to integrate with marketplace partners that will help you offset your electricity bills, or your make greener choices, right? Of course. And then once you have that in place, audit your manual processes, like identify those tasks, messaging, scheduling, check-ins that can be automated so that you can free up time and cut that waste. And that can take time to audit, but definitely look at where can I be better? Where can I make small changes that have big impacts on my business? Then we've got, add smart hardware, thermostats, locks, lights that have an outsized impact on energy use with minimal install time. Those exist today. So, when your lights do go out, replace them with something with LED, something that lasts longer. So thinking just about not only just short term, but also long term. And then rethinking your guest journey, using messaging or digital guidebooks, onboarding to set expectations and encourage user energy-friendly behaviors, right, within the homes themselves. And then, of course, things like, you can boost your performance and your engagement on these OTAs. Again, this is not just driving direct, but this is just driving overall performance. If you do incorporate sustainable practices into your property management, highlight it. Again, we've said it a few times already here. By sharing with potential guests that you are eco-friendly and promoting sustainability efforts, you can attract a niche market and improve your rankings. Use the badges, use the certifications, right? Don't be shy about it, because I think also the more it's visible to other property managers, the more desirable it becomes for the others who are not. It's kind of one of the, I think at least, oh, I also want to be sustainable, or I want the badge too. How do I get it? What do I need to do to become that level? So ultimately, that's just focusing on just your core business, and thinking of small ways that you can make small changes that will have a long-term effect.
Yeah, totally want to echo those sentiments. Thank you. You articulated them really eloquently. We write about all of those topics on EnviroRental. If you go there and look in the blogs, you will find a blog on each of those topics that Petter talked about, and we'll be continuing to add to that resource. So time is always tight on these webinars, but you can go and do the research, go to our roadmap, go to our blogs, get all that information for free, and that will help you. And of course, at any time, come back to us at EnviroRental if you need further support. And we'll be doing more webinars, I'm sure, with Guesty dropping into these topics in more detail and helping you to take the first or the next step. So I'm conscious of time, but I do want to check if there are people who would like to ask a question, either in person or put it in the chat. I know a lot of people are watching these webinars after the event, but for those of you who are here, does anybody have a question or a comment or an observation? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Russ.
Russ had a question.
So, and you've answered it. You know, my question is, with our current administration in the U.S., sustainability is not a focus. And so just any thoughts on how we can raise awareness? And you've done a great job. And I think it's just wonderful that a company like yours is out there letting us know what we can do. And it's going to take more companies. And I think, like you said, we just all really, really have to work together, especially now, because it just is not top priority in the States. And so I just appreciate you and what you're doing and what Bob's doing. And I think now it's really, really important that we work together to try to create as much awareness as we possibly can.
I agree. I think like any movements, it's grassroots. And if that's what's needed, once again, that's what we have to do. If we can't rely, obviously, on the current administration right now, but, you know, things may change. But we don't have to stop as stewards of this earth, and as, you know, leaders in the STR industry. So I'm down to work together on this.
I'd like to just echo that and also add that, you know, without being, you know, too doom laden, you know, we are in a climate crisis. We do need to get our emissions down. Ultimately, they are still rising. We're supposed to be reducing them by 50% by 2030. We're probably going to miss the 1.5 degree Celsius ceiling on temperature. But what choice do we have? There'll be no tourism, there'll be no clients and no customers, there'll be no hosts and no property managers on a dead and dying planet. So it's our responsibility to play our part as an industry, because we do have a carbon footprint, and I think it's beholden on each company, whether big or small, to take some relevant steps. And all we can do is, with respect and with care, encourage, prompt and educate people to take the next step and do the very best that we can do. What else can we do? We just have to keep going and encourage people to get involved. That would be my response. But thank you, Russ. Good question. Anything else? Anything in the chat? Not sure there is. Amit, is there?
No, not that I can see.
Okay. Well, we will probably finish there. I'd also like to thank Michelle from Guesty. She's been instrumental in making sure this webinar happens and putting it together with Amit. I appreciate that leadership. It doesn't happen without some great people, with our collaborators who make these things happen. And I really appreciate that, Michelle. Thank you so much. Thank you to Peter for your contribution. You were so eloquent and articulate. Loved everything that you said, and I'd love to jump on another call some point and jump into in a lot more detail. And I'm sure we'll be talking about how we can do that. Earth Day is just a couple of weeks away now, and I would encourage people to think about that and think about what steps you can take, however small. It doesn't matter. take some steps and put them into action and publicize them and build them into your brand and try and involve your staff, your suppliers, and your consumers, your customers. It's the way forward. Unless there's anything else to say, I'd like to thank everybody so much, and we'll see you all again on another EnviroRental webinar soon. Take care.
Absolutely. Thank you, Bob, so much for having us. We so appreciate it and love the work you're doing. It's
Thank you
so
so much.
important. Yeah, it's very important in this industry right now. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.